How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 14P Fantasy. I am your host, Justin Wright. Today we are talking starts and sits at the running back position for Week 13. This week, obviously with the ability to have creative content kind of dying down here, we're going to be doing a lot of start-sit videos. This is one of three, maybe four. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we got 6 names here. So let's get into that. Before we do, though, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video. If you got questions, comments, drop them below. We're going to answer everything we can, obviously leading up to Thursday and then Sunday. First name on the list, though, we have Devonta Freeman versus Pittsburgh, and he's coming in as a flex play, maybe a back-end RB2. He's coming off of, his second most touches since taking over the starting role, but he also played his fewest snaps. Latavius Murray is getting healthier. He's getting more involved. So that does lower the ceiling for Devonta Freeman just a little bit. But Devonta Freeman, if he finds the end zone, immediately returns value. I mean, as does really any running back that's going to see over 15 touches a game. And the appeal against Pittsburgh, and I understand it is a divisional game, so there's extra juice and stats matter a little bit less when you're playing you're the biggest rival in football that you have. But against running backs, Pittsburgh is allowing the 4th most points above average, which means if Devonta Freeman is averaging 10 points a game against Pittsburgh, he would score 12.4. So when you're looking at that, it's good to see, filter out. Maybe they've had an easy schedule, but running backs are still beating their low averages. That's what we're looking at here. Devonta Freeman in a good spot to maybe outproduce his typical output. So that could put him, in the 10 to 15 point range. If he finds the end zone, he could break 20. He's a flex play. He's a volume TD dependent flex play. I'm starting him in plenty of leagues. I think you should be doing the same. Moving on, we have Tony Pollard versus the Saints, and he's coming in as an RB2. There's all the reports going on that, Zeke has a knee injury. They're going to scale back work. And then obviously Jerry Jones, being Jerry Jones, comes over the top saying, nope, screw it. Zeke's getting a massive workload. That's how we're going to operate. I don't buy that. Jerry Jones is not the coach. And I understand he has a shit ton of say. I don't care, really. They need Zeke for a playoff run. That's where Dallas is headed. They are a run-first team. As much as I love Dak, they're a run-first team. They need Zeke to be able to do that, which means Tony Pollard's going to see an uptick in work. He's, gone over 10-plus touches 2 of the last 3 weeks. I do think he breaks 15 this week, potentially. Again, the matchup is not ideal, but Tony Pollard has shown to be an explosive back. He has pass-catching upside. He has, some TD upside as well. If he's getting 15 touches, I'll take 15 touches from Tony Pollard over 15 touches from Devonta Freeman. If we're comparing those two 1-to-1, I'm going to play Pollard over Freeman. I do have a league where I'm playing both, but whatever. Tony Pollard, he's big play dependent, though. We know that. The matchup may not allow for it, so he does need to get that volume. I think he does. That is just me planting on a flag saying, Tony Pollard week, get him in your lineups. And let me be clear, Zeke is still an RB2 as well. I think they end up splitting work rather than it being like a 60-40 split or a 70-30 like it's been most weeks. This is a Tony Pollard week. Moving on, we have Elijah Mitchell versus Seattle. And this is an obvious one, but I just want to say it again. Elijah Mitchell is an RB1. From this point on, moving forward, I don't care. We touted him way back when in our second half league winners, and we've seen it, his last 2 starts. The volume is insane. Over 27 touches, back-to-back starts. Again, he missed the game in the middle there with his finger injury, so nothing too serious. He comes back, goes over 30 touches, is just explosive, and now Deebo Samuel's out, which frees up more touches. And yeah, those may go to Jeff Wilson, but it does eliminate those weird red zone touches and explosive long runs that Deebo Samuel had. Jeff Wilson doesn't have that ability, which means there's going to be more yards on the field for Elijah Mitchell to gain potentially. And again, he's just if you're any running back seeing over 20 touches a game is automatically in RB1 consideration. When you add in a team that wants to just run in the red zone and, not really let Jimmy G make mistakes, which is smart. I think he's going to make plenty. That is where Elijah Mitchell's sky-high ceiling comes in, right? And then you look at Seattle, a team that just got torched on the ground and through the air by Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissic. Elijah Mitchell could be the RB1 this week. Again, I'm not saying he gets there and he's a start no matter what, but that is very much in his range of outcomes for Week 13. All righty. Our first sit of the week, it's Damien Harris versus Buffalo. There's a few things working against him. Since coming back from injury, he has not eclipsed 15 touches in either of his games. And for reference, he did that 4 straight games, before getting injured. That was his baseline. He was a touchdown dependent, 15 to 20 touch kind of player. And that was fine, especially in this offense. But now Ramondre Stevenson is taking enough work that Damien Harris has essentially turned into Jordan Howard. And it's not that he's not significantly more talented. He is. Damien Harris is a phenomenal player, but he just doesn't have the volume for fantasy. Last week he found the end zone and that was great. Got 12 points. He doesn't give you anything in the pass game, really one target a game. That's become his norm. And now Ramondre Stevenson takes goal line work. He takes, another 9 to 10 carries. It's just not the kind of guy I want to play, especially in a divisional matchup against Buffalo that really dominates everybody not named Jonathan Taylor. So you can't play him. I mean, maybe you do and he gets in the end zone and it pays off. Sure. I'm not going to bank on that when he's not going to see, 15 or more touches. That's kind of the threshold for me to say, all right, you got to have an insane average on the ground just to get 10 points if you're seeing fewer than 15 carries. It's not worth the play to me. Our next sit here, what could have been? Alex Collins. He's had the makings of what seemed to be, a nice fantasy steal with Chris Carson going out and Rashad Penny forever being hurt. And then everything just kind of went to shit. Russ got hurt. Russ came back, has been terrible. Geno Smith was whatever. The offense wasn't great. All of that has led to, since week 6, he has 0 games over double digits. His last 3 games, he's barely seeing 10 touches, 10, 11 touches. He was under 10 last week. He's playing under 50% of snaps now, each of the last 3 games. I just don't see the appeal. The offense has not been good. Alex Collins has not been good. You could cut him for all I care. I mean, maybe don't actually do that because it's a running back and depth is hard to find, but Alex Collins has just been bad. Sit him down until he proves something or Russ proves that he's back and the offense is moving again. Because right now, again, TD dependent flex play that I don't want to flex. He's a sit. Moving on to our last guy here, and this one hurts a little bit as a giant DeAndre Swift fan. Jamaal Williams versus Minnesota is an RB2. It's a middle-of-the-road matchup, but the volume is king here. And you've heard me say that from most of these running backs. Jamaal Williams, after DeAndre Swift went down, played 63% of snaps last week, basically every snap as a running back. Once Swift was out, that is, and then had 5 targets, which is his second highest total since week 1. He's going to absorb 90% probably of that work from DeAndre Swift, the pass work mainly. He has the upside of 10 targets in a week, which is insane, but he's an RB2. I mean, the passing volume alone gets him there. Again, he was over 13 points. He was an RB2 last week. You have to start Jamaal Williams if you have him. And, if you already have 2 great running backs, I am finding a way to put him in my flex spot. Again, I don't think he's a great player. Detroit sucks. Minnesota's whatever against running backs. But volume. Volume is what matters. If you're looking for a win, he's an extremely high floor kind of player. And if he finds the end zone, like all these running backs, he has RB1 upside. So that's what you're looking at with Jamaal Williams. All right, everybody, that is all we have. So remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us over on Twitter. Follow me over on Twitter. If you got questions, comments, drop them below. We'll answer them, like the video, all that good stuff, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.